Hello everyone, welcome once again. Now we are preparing a control plan and we are in control phase. In the last session of the control plan, we talked there are 5 elements of a typical control plan, which are aligning the systems and infrastructure, documentation plan, monitoring plan, response plan, and training and communication plan. We have 5 different sections of a control plan, which are supported by implemented improvements and verified financial impact. If you see my screen, you would see that what kind of question a control plan answers. We look at what is the process that is being controlled, what are the process outputs that are being monitored or controlled, what are the inputs that are being monitored, controlled in order to keep the output at its target level. How are the inputs and output being measured, monitored and controlled? How does someone react when the inputs or outputs are not in control? Last point is very interesting. How does someone react? I mean, if someone is reacting in panic, which means they may not have a response plan, they may not know what to do with it, or what should be a strategy to handle the situation. So that's something important we need to understand. Moving to the next slide, you will see we're talking about what is documentation plan. However, we discussed a bit about the documentation plan. We'll spend a few minutes to understand what all we should add as part of the documentation plan. What should be included as part of a documentation plan? We should include the process documentation, which is standard operating procedures, any reference document, updated process maps, flowcharts. So swim lane diagram are process maps that are used by all the organizations. So make it a point that every process has a process map, and the new process map that we have prepared for the new process should be part of the documents. Flowcharts, if you have activity process map, should be part of the process documents. Procedures, the standard operating procedure, SOPs, if there is any change or a new SOP if we have prepared, they should be part of the documentation. And what we should do as part of documents, it's a best practice, we should always break the entire SOP into sub-process, and then we should have separate document for it. If we have a 30-page SOP, it would be very difficult to manage it. So rather than making a 30-page SOP, we can break it into 3 pieces of 10-page SOP sub-process. So that becomes easier to find and information in that. So that's the typical best practice that should be followed while preparing documents. And FMEA, and according to me, FMEA should always be a standard document for every type of process. FMEA, however, we are using it as part of our an improve phase to assess the risk, but according to me, FMEA you can prepare for any process irrespective of a Lean Six Sigma project, just to understand in what ways a process can fail. So it's a quick document to refer. If something can fail, what would be the root causes and what would be the mitigation plan, who will do it, the follow-up. So it has a very good synopsis of the entire project with us. And in terms of control plans documentation, what additional thing we should add? Training manuals on the new documents, on the new solution, new process. How are we going to train people? So the entire training governance should be there. Training plan, training material, training ownership, training dates, training calendars, frequency of training, training name, all this would be part of the training plan. And then monitoring plan, how are we going to monitor the process, the dashboards, KPI detail, the content of it. How are we going to train people on the new KPIs, on the new monitoring plan? How are we going to train people on everything in the control plan is going to be part of this. Any charts, reports, response plan will be a part of it. So response plan, we should have a response plan, but the document of response plan should be part of the documentation. And then systems and structure. If we are changing the system, or if we are making a change in the systems or the structure, we need to write how will it be done. So the job descriptions need to be prepared, the job designs needs to be prepared. Performance management, how will we ensure how people will be assessed for the new system that we have put together, what kind of skill or competencies are required to do that specific job, and what will be the objective of that particular document, why have we prepared it. So in a nutshell, very quickly, that's what we talk about, a documentation plan, where we try to understand these key aspects of the process. So everything and anything that we are doing in control plan, it needs to be documented, and this entire documentation will be part of the documentation plan or documentation of the control plan itself. In the next part of the control plan, we'll talk about the training plan, what all should we talk from the training plan point of view. Thank you for watching. This is Shivendra Sharma.